Hello everybody, the Army of Light Earth Division, the boots on the ground. It's Shawna L. Francis. Today is February 20th, 2024. Thanks everybody for joining me for today's weekly briefing. You know, we're coming up on almost a year of these weekly briefings. In another 2 or 3, it will have been a full year, and pretty sure I haven't missed maybe more than 2 or 3 of these all year long. So thanks to everybody who has watched just about every single one of these this past year. It's been quite a journey. This has all started since Queen Elizabeth ended her 44 channeling streak with me last year. Wow. So here we are, guys. Welcome everybody. Thanks for being here. Thanks for subscribing to this channel. Thanks for liking the videos. Thanks for all your beautiful comments. I have read everything, but I'm behind on responding to everything. So thanks for your patience. Know that I so appreciate you and all your support that you show me and everything that you're doing to bring the light, especially now as things are getting more and more kind of chaotic out there. 2024, I mean, we can feel it, right? You can kind of feel it. This is a heavy year. Melchizedek today, we have a fairly brief message from them, but very pointed. And it's really talking more about how this is a partnership between us and them. And frankly, all of our guides and all of the galactics, the angelic realm, the metaphysical realm. You know, we are all working together as a unit, trying to anyway, we're getting organized to come together to help this earth ascend. We're talking about the ascension on this channel. We're also talking about the negative reptilian influence here. And this is a big part of my karmic balancing. So if you're new to this channel, thanks for being here. It's a lot, right? These are still such fringe topics, but as we've discussed before, I wouldn't say for too much longer. I'd say another year or 2. This whole idea of the reptilian regime will be much more in the forefront in people's consciousness. I mean, that's really what we're doing, team. And Melchizedek, the Galactic Federation of Light, these guys have talked about this many times, how we are seeding the collective with this information. They have said to me many times, you don't have to go out and do a bunch of promotion. You don't have to worry about how many people are watching the videos, how many people are subscribing, that we have the right people in place now to do this work. And it doesn't take a bazillion people to do the work. Really, another thing that Melchizedek talks about today is that we are all beacons. So early on in my awakening, 5.5 years ago, they had said, Shawna, you're the beacon. You are a beacon. And I really thought it was more of a figure of speech, but I've really come to know over the past few years that this is very literal. It's like quantum physics, scientific here in terms of how energy works, how resonance works. So as a singularity here, as this aspect of my oversoul, Shawna L. Francis, walks upon this planet, I am emitting a frequency. I am a frequency because everything is energy. This frequency is inhabiting this vessel, this body, so that we can be in Earth School, learning these lessons, balancing our karma, doing our thing. All these pre-life agreements, all this balancing that we want to do here. But it is really all about the energy. It's all about frequency. And it's the whole spectrum, right? So we're going from a 3rd dimensional expression here, existence here on this planet, which is fairly darn dense. This is about as dense as it gets, right? Earth School. This is the school of hard knocks here on planet Earth. The teams have said this. And we're going to pit stop at the 4th dimension, but really 5th dimension is really where the prize is at. This is working from universal love, unity consciousness. It is vastly different from where we are right now. So again, all of this is about energy. And waking up to this, it's a huge part of what we're doing here. And you know, there's still so much of our civilization that has no idea that energy even exists. They think that we're kind of born into this body, we die, and it's the end of it. And it's really not true. Not in the way that our guides have explained it. So anyway, you know, this is about consciousness. It's about energy. It's about vibration. This is how we start to really see the world. This is how we are viewing the world. It's through these lenses, and this is how we are maneuvering this massive leap in evolution. And remember too, team, this is the beginning of it. So we are the ones who are trudging ahead, bulldozing our way through all of this muck, all of this darkness, all these boulders in the road. And we're the crazy ones. We're the ones really kind of forging a new path for all those who are going to follow behind us. So this, where we're at right now and where we've been probably since like the 1980s, is really the important, we are the ones who are clearing that pathway so that the people who come behind us have it much, much easier. And Melchizedek talks about how this path is going to be challenging. It's going to continue to be challenging for the foreseeable future. And I was just thinking tonight as I was preparing for this video, what about this path is so darn difficult? And then there are so many reasons I just stopped counting. Kind of a case in point, this week for me has been really social, actually. I've done a couple of dinners with neighbors. My old landlords here live right behind the yurts. They're the ones who sold me the yurts a few years ago. And they're from Oregon, not too far. And so I see them quite a bit. They're here half the year. So out to dinner with them a couple of times. I have a full house here at the yurts. All the yurts are full. And, this keeps me really busy, and it's quite social. It becomes quite a family here when these yurts are full and you're seeing people and you're getting to know people. And some of these folks I've met before because they're return guests from years past. So, you're forging these bonds. And, the folks who are staying here next door, they're like, so Shawna, how did you find this place? What led you here? Because it's kind of off the beaten path. And if you don't know about East Cape and the Sea of Cortez and the Baja Peninsula, you don't usually have a real reason to visit here unless you're into sports fishing. So I'm like, well, it's kind of a long story. And they're like, well, we have time. And they kind of pulled up a chair and they wanted to hear. So it's like, wow, how do I even still today, 5.5 years after this, and 400 videos later and 2 books, how do I talk about myself and what really is going to serve the folks that I'm talking to and what's really not going to serve them. So I'm very conscious of this and making small talk at dinner with folks that I barely know or kind of know as acquaintances, or I'm getting to know better when they ask, what do you do? What are you doing here? My point being, I just want you to know that I still, I'm not going to say that I struggle with it like I used to, but I'm conscious of what I say. I'm conscious of the exchange of energy. I'm conscious of where the conversation flows and where it kind of stalls out. And so I just am really sensitive to that. And I'm really, really honoring the other folks that I'm speaking to, because it's not serving anybody for me to sit here and try to convince people that an alien race is really subverting humanity and has been for thousands of years. And, oh, by the way, they're reptilian. And by the way, I used to be one. And so this is a balancing of my karma. I don't lead in with this kind of stuff. Usually I get to the point where I'm channeling Archangel Metatron 5.5 years ago. And that's about as much as people can really handle. So it is quite funny, and we keep it really light, and my heart is always really open, and people feel that, and they don't feel threatened, and it's not about trying to convince anybody of anything or needing to be understood. I've let go of really needing to be known or validated or understood from others who I don't have these really deep relationships with. So anyway, I'm still working on that. So here we are. I don't know. I just went off on this tangent. Let's come back to center here. I think I'll go ahead and get into what Melchizedek had to say. How's everybody doing? Oh yeah, one thing I wanted to talk about. So remember last week, Melchizedek, was talking about, these guys, these reptilians just want to keep us sad and angry and frustrated. And they talked about these highs and these lows, and it's constant, like you see these visions of love and camaraderie and things that are uplifting. And then the next minute you're seeing destruction and these horrible, horrible scenes that are filmed, and we see them over and over and over again. And they just said, we are just becoming acclimated to this absolute roller coaster yo-yo of emotions. And it's so bad that, we're so accustomed to it that this is what we crave and what we expect and what we want. So they talked about how hard it is really for us to kind of be in peace and be in joy and be calm. We kind of like thrive on the drama and thrive on the chaos. And it seems to me, Melchizedek, with the stance that they're taking with last week and the week before last, and today, it's like they're like shaking us like, okay, are you getting this? Are you getting this? It's like, come on, people, it's really time to get on board. So kind of that's the feel I'm getting. I don't know how you all feel about that. How are we doing? They also talk about us, me in particular, plus all of you, the constituents in the Army of Light Earth Division, being a bit of testing ground for them. We're kind of like their guinea pigs, because we have kind of a I'm not going to say a closed group, but a tight-knit group here, relatively speaking, and dedicated constituents that all of you, many of you have been with me since I started this 3 years ago. You've watched many of my videos, you've commented, what have you. I've had one-on-one sessions with you. So you're really kind of on board and you are feeling these messages, you're feeling this resonance. This is all making sense to you, even though we may struggle from time to time. We're kind of getting it, right? They're like, okay, guys, it's go time. So this is the ongoing theme even today. But experiment. They're experimenting with our fields. And certainly they've said that to me directly a few times in the last, I'd say 6 months. And they even said, Shawna, we're not even going to tell you exactly what we're doing because the element of surprise is on our side. So I'm not going in with any big expectations. And I will say it requires such a leap of faith and such trust of the teams. Basically the way I'm living right now, I mean, there's not one thought that passes through my mind that Melchizedek doesn't know about. I mean, and I really think that's true for everybody on some level. And this is why they've talked recently about our thoughts being so darn important. Everything is energy, whether you're thinking it to yourself or you're speaking it out loud. But I'm definitely in this place here in my journey where it is just faith and it is a partnership and there is so much trust and love and there's just nothing I'd rather be doing. So I'm really feeling it and excited for this year, even though we're feeling how heavy it is and we're feeling like something ominous is here. We're kind of getting that in our gut. And Melchizedek talked about this last time too. Being the calm in the middle of the storm. That is really a huge part of what we're doing as beacons. I'm a beacon, you guys are beacons. It's all about the resonance and the energy that we put out. It's not so much about us preaching or trying to convince anybody of anything or trying to tell people what we know and trying to enlighten other people. It's really not about that. It's really about the resonance we're carrying, open heart, feeling, respecting others, honoring others and wherever they're at. Remember that everybody is in lesson here. Everyone's in lesson and everybody enters Earth School at different levels. And so it's just honoring that because we've been all of those things. And remember, this world has been architected so that we are always fighting each other, no matter who we are or where we're sitting on this planet. There's an us versus them on some level, even if it's you versus your neighbor or, your political parties, your ideologies, your religions, the way you want to style your hair, the way you want to dress, the kind of jobs that you have. So, everything is kind of set up to keep us hating each other, fighting each other, judging each other. And this is not who and what we are in truth. This is not, and we are not, the enemy isn't our fellow neighbor or brothers or sisters. This is an off-planet regime who wishes to keep our vibrations low and stop us from ascending because they don't want to lose what they have here. Boy, I'm just like rambling on today. Okay, back to Melchizedek. Here's what Melchizedek had to say today. Welcome everyone to all of those who have said yes to this path, who show up each week to hear these messages, who are putting their best foot forward every day. We would like to first say we commend you, dear souls, for your commitment, your bravery, and your faith. This is not an easy path, and dear ones, if we may say so, this path will continue to be challenging for the foreseeable future. This is why we come to you today with a bit of an urgency, at the very least with a higher degree of seriousness, which may help us to convey our message for you in this moment. We must admit we are experimenting a bit here with all of you and this collective field that you have created together. We regard you as a bit of our testing grounds. And with this dear one, Shawna, she is also participating at levels that are new to this plane of existence and to this shared level of consciousness. We also, quote unquote, experiment with this dear soul's field to help gauge readiness, your ability not only to withstand, but to embrace higher frequencies, your capacity for fielding varying levels of information, and subsequently your ability to bounce back to wholeness, to love and to light, peace and joy. Always, they said, of course, we act with utmost integrity, nurturing love, as we operate for your highest good. Yeah, I've been feeling this a bit more, like they check in with me quite a bit, like, and I have to verbalize it. Shawna, how are you doing? How are you feeling? And I'll have to, kind of think about it, and I verbalize this, even though they're in my field and they're, very much, we are very much sharing a consciousness at this point. I think it's still even good for me to be able to stop and take a breath and really, check in with myself, check in with the field. How am I doing? And I feel wonderful, actually. I'm feeling just great. It's really, for me personally, right now where I'm at, it's just really letting go of control and letting go of all worries, and not getting too caught up in thinking about the future. With the mushroom grow business probably not going to be happening, that kind of opens me up to new things. And, I'm asking the team all the time, what about this? What about that? I'm thinking about doing some traveling, gathering the groups together. What if I, this summer I do a Portland event, or I take off to California, or what have you. So we're pondering these things together, as partners, really, trying to understand, where does the book fit in? Where does my advocacy for medicinal mushrooms come in? So I'm super excited about this year and all the disclosure that's coming. We're super ready for it. But if I just realize that, I'm really not in control at this level, and they have it completely figured out. They've said to me so many times, Shawna, no stone left unturned. It's a detailed plan with some flexibility. But as soon as I kind of let go of that and I'm just trusting, then life is good. And it was 80 degrees today and sunny. And yeah, it was a nice day. All right, I'm going to keep going here. Melchizedek, they said here. We as Melchizedek continue to work at many levels of consciousness within humanity. In some ways, you are our students, but mostly we view you as our partners. And in this partnership, there's a shared purpose, common objectives, and a sense of working together cohesively as a unit to meet those objectives. We each bring unique gifts, unique strengths, playing different roles in a coordinated fashion. You as humans on the planet's surface who have said yes to this mission have abilities, reach, and resources that we as Melchizedek do not possess. And this is all by design. How cool is this? I never really thought of it quite this way. We as the boots on the ground in human form in these vessels at this time with these missions, we have abilities, reach, and resources that they do not have. Of course they do. They cannot just come down here and take over. They're not going to be the right dimensionality. And really, this is humanity's fight. This is our deal. We're taking this on. There's no rescue mission happening, folks. We're in charge here. They're guiding us, but we're making this happen. And then they continued here. We watch this field closely, We do what we can to help you along. But alas, in essence, this is your moment to shine. It is your moment to act, to do your part. Let there be no doubt that the efforts that you make today have long-standing impacts for generations to come. In fact, this ascension does not progress without all of you in this moment embracing this role. At its most basic, its simplest, you are all beacons through resonance, through intention, through choice and action. You carry a light that can be felt far beyond your immediate physical surroundings. Your consciousness as a singularity impacts the whole of humanity, and your role as a beacon, shining the brightest when it's the darkest, helps illuminate the path for those who will follow in your footsteps. Let there be no more confusion about who and what you are in truth. Feel these words rather than trying to understand them intellectually. Who and what you are in truth and your ability to be this truth are what will help change this planet. As buildings crumble and the dust chokes your throat and sticks in your eyes, you will be that beacon, calm, assuring, and present. All right, guys, and that's where they ended that. Let there be no more confusion about who and what you are in truth. I mean, it's like, come on, people, are you getting this? Like, they're just really wanting us to get it. Not only get it, but just surrender to this, have faith and trust in this path, in this love, and our abilities to really make the changes we want to see in this planet through resonance. So that's where we're at right now. It's about awareness. It's about resonance. It's about being able to seed the collective with information, this disclosure part of the role that we're playing. But it's really about holding light through the darkest of times. So this is going to be challenging for the foreseeable future. It's not like it's going to get easier. You know, here we had the Super Bowl and all the merriment that goes along with the winning team, you know, and all that celebration. And then we have the shootings that happened in Kansas City. So it's just like, this is just never going to stop, this yo-yo of emotions. And especially if we're consuming a lot of mass media, man, you know, they couldn't be more clear. You know, things are not what they seem. You know, now's the time to unplug from the propaganda. Now's the time to take control of our energetic fields. Really be conscious about what we're taking in, what we're doing with our time, what are we focused on, what's keeping us distracted, and just being conscious about where our time is going, where our efforts are going, where our focus is going. If you've got your phone in your hand and, you know, you can't even leave the phone sitting on the counter while you use the bathroom, you know, maybe there's something you want to look at there. And, you know, I'm guilty of it too. You know, we are at a place now where we are being saturated with messages that are not for our highest good, with frequencies that are keeping our vibrations low. We are in choice here. We're in choice. It may be at odds with what your counterpart is doing, or your siblings are doing, or what your parents are doing, or your children, or what have you, people around you, your friends. You know, this may not be in alignment with what they're doing. Can you step back from this and really assess where you are, what you're doing with your time, and make some adjustments that are really going to help support you through this year while we are trying to maintain this light through the chaos. Really make yourself numero uno. Time to be selfish, team. Figure out what it is that you need to stay balanced, to be able to check in with your energetic field. We talk a lot about this kind of stuff. So just to recap there. Okay, guys, as the buildings crumble and the dust is choking our throat and it's sticking in our eyes, we're going to be those beacons, the calm in the chaos, calm, assuring, and present. How are you feeling about that right now? Do you feel like you could do that? All right, guys. I love you all so very much. Thanks for being here. You're the best. I expect to see you next week, team. Take care of yourself. All right, team. See you next week. Mwah.